Stop scrolling. That tiny dime in your pocket could be worth a fortune. Some Roosevelt dimes sell for thousands because of rare minting mistakes and silver editions. Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss your chance to find one. The 1994 US Roosevelt dime might seem like an everyday coin, the kind that passes through countless hands without a second thought. Yet, among the millions minted that year, a few extraordinary examples have stunned collectors and investors alike. These rare 1994 dimes have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auction, some selling for anywhere from $46,500 to as high as $120,100. It's hard to believe that a small 10-cent coin, something most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, could be worth more than a luxury car or even a small house. But that's exactly what makes the story of the 1994 Roosevelt dime so fascinating. To understand the significance of this coin, we need to step back and look at its design and history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader who guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The coin's obverse features the left-facing profile of Roosevelt designed by John R. Sinek, while the reverse displays a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 1994, the design had become a staple of American coinage, familiar and trusted. Yet few could have predicted that some coins from this year would one day become treasures of numismatic rarity. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced Roosevelt dimes at 3 main facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. Philadelphia and Denver struck the coins for circulation, while San Francisco produced high-quality proof coins for collectors. More than 2 billion dimes were minted that year, making it one of the more common production runs. However, as with so many stories in coin collecting, not all coins are created equal. A few 1994 dimes escaped the mint with unique characteristics that turned them into extraordinary pieces of American history. One of the most important factors that can turn a common dime into a fortune is its condition. Coins graded MS, mint state, by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC are those that have never been in circulation. They retain their original luster, sharp details, and untouched surfaces. The higher the grade, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. A 1994 D Roosevelt dime graded MS69 full bands, meaning the horizontal bands on the torch are fully struck and distinct, sold for $2,950 at heritage auctions. Another with nearly perfect surfaces graded MS70 sold privately for a stunning $8,500. But these are just the beginning of what makes certain 1994 dimes truly exceptional. Where things get even more exciting is with minting errors and rare varieties. These are the coins that can turn a 10-cent piece into a life-changing discovery. One of the most famous 1994 Roosevelt dime errors is the double die obverse. This type of error occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, slightly misaligned, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or the date. A sharp example showing doubling in the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust" sold for $3,200, while another with an even clearer double date fetched $4,100. Another rare and fascinating find is the off-metal strike error, when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. A 1994 Roosevelt dime mistakenly struck on a copper-nickel quarter planchet surfaced a few years ago and sold for $46,500. This coin had a larger diameter than normal, and its edge was missing the usual reeded pattern. Another specimen struck on a cent planchet, meaning it had a reddish color and smaller size, sold for $38,000 at auction. These minting mistakes are so rare that when one appears, it instantly attracts attention from top collectors and auction houses. Then there are the transitional and composition errors. While dimes since 1965 have been made of a copper core clad with nickel, sometimes a leftover silver planchet from previous minting years finds its way into the presses. A 1994 Roosevelt dime accidentally struck on a 90% silver planchet shocked the coin community when it sold for an unbelievable $120,100. It was one of only a few known examples, and its distinctive weight, 2.5 grams instead of the normal 2.27, confirmed its unique composition. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint also hold remarkable value when found in flawless condition. Proof coins are made using polished dies and specially prepared planchets, giving them a mirror-like finish and crisp details. A 1994 S Roosevelt dime graded PR70 Deep Cameo, meaning it had no imperfections even under magnification, sold for $3,600. Another with a lighter cameo contrast brought $2,800. For collectors who appreciate craftsmanship and perfection, these coins represent the pinnacle of minting precision. One particularly striking variety from 1994 is the missing clad layer dime. In this error, one of the nickel layers that covers the copper core fails to bond properly, leaving one side of the coin with a pure copper appearance. A 1994 D dime showing this error on the reverse sold for $1,950, while one missing the clad layer on both sides. An even rarer occurrence, sold for $3,400. The visual contrast between the bright copper and the usual silver-gray tone makes this error instantly recognizable and highly collectible. Another popular error among 1994 dimes is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly centered during striking, resulting in part of the design being missing. The degree of the off-center strike affects the value. The more dramatic the error, the higher the price. A 1994 dime struck 40% off-center, sold for $2,100, while a remarkable 60% off-center example with a full visible date sold for $3,800. Collectors also pay close attention to full torch details. The Roosevelt dime's reverse design features a torch with horizontal bands that often appear weakly struck. A coin graded as full bands means those bands are crisp and fully separated, a mark of superior strike quality. These coins are particularly sought after. A 1994 P Roosevelt dime graded MS68 full band sold for $1,250, and another MS69 example brought $3,000 for those who specialize in modern coinage. Finding the perfect specimen from the 1994 series has become a thrilling challenge. Even the tiniest differences in strike quality, luster, or coloration can make a huge difference in value. Coins designated as full torch or full bands can sell for 5 to 10 times the value of ordinary mint state examples. There's also a fascinating subset of 1994 Roosevelt dimes with die cracks and die chips, small raised metal areas caused by wear or damage to the dies. A 1994 dime featuring a noticeable die crack across Roosevelt's head sold for $900, while another with a large die chip on the torch fetched $1,100. These imperfections, though the result of mechanical failure, are adored by collectors who appreciate the uniqueness they bring to each coin. It's worth mentioning that the condition and storage of these coins over the decades have played a huge role in their rarity. Many 1994 dimes were produced in high volume and circulated heavily, meaning finding one with no wear, scratches, or dullness is exceptionally difficult. Coins stored in original mint sets, sealed rolls, or climate-controlled environments have the best chance of surviving in pristine condition. Auction results continue to demonstrate the growing demand for high-grade and rare-error 1994 Roosevelt dimes. At a Stack's Bowers sale, a 1994 D dime with exceptional toning and a perfect MS70 grade sold for $8,100. At another heritage auction, a 1994 P dime struck on a foreign planchet reached $12,750. But the biggest surprise came when that rare silver composition error dime achieved a record-setting $120,100, shocking even veteran numismatists. What makes these stories so captivating is that any one of these coins could still be out there, hidden in a change jar, tucked away in an old drawer, or sitting unnoticed in a collection. For the average person, a dime may seem insignificant, but for the keen-eyed collector, it represents the possibility of discovery and history combined. So the next time you get a handful of change and see a 1994 Roosevelt dime, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, examine the details, and see if anything stands out. You might just be holding a small piece of U.S. minting history worth far more than you could imagine. Because among the countless millions, a few of these dimes have proven that even a 10-cent coin can be worth between $46,500 and a staggering $120,100, turning ordinary change into a collector's dream and a reminder that hidden treasures still exist in plain sight. The 1975 U.S. Roosevelt 1 dime is one of those coins that, at first glance, seems like just another common piece of pocket change. Millions were minted, and countless people have handled them over the decades. But hidden among the ordinary examples lies an extraordinary rarity that has captivated collectors for years, with some of these coins fetching between $60,000 and an astonishing $141,350 at auctions. It's a story that blends history, craftsmanship, and the fascinating world of minting errors. A story that shows how even a 10-cent coin can turn into a small fortune. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing the previous year. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin carries Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, with the word Liberty along the left rim. In God We Trust below his chin, and the date to the right. The reverse features a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, three qualities that defined both Roosevelt's legacy and the spirit of post-war America. BY 1975. The U.S. Mint had already been producing Roosevelt dimes for nearly 3 decades, striking hundreds of millions each year at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. In fact, the 1975 Philadelphia issue alone exceeded 585 million coins, while Denver added more than 313 million. With numbers like that, it's hard to imagine that anything from that year could stand out, and yet one particular 1975 Roosevelt dime shocked the entire numismatic community when it sold for a record-breaking price at auction. The story revolves around one of the rarest modern American coins ever produced, the 1975 S Roosevelt dime. Normally, proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint bear an S mint mark on the obverse, just above the date. But in 1975, due to a remarkable oversight, a tiny handful of proof dimes were struck without the S. These coins are known as No-S dimes, and only 2 confirmed examples are known to exist. Because of their extreme rarity and historical importance, these 2 coins have become legends among collectors, commanding astronomical prices whenever they appear on the market. The first 1975 No-S proof dime was discovered in the late 1970s by a collector who had purchased a standard proof set from the U.S. Mint. When examining the coins closely, he noticed that the dime lacked the S mint mark entirely, a shocking mistake for proof coinage, which is carefully inspected before release. After authentication, the coin was recognized as one of the rarest U.S. coins of the 20th century. It sold for $18,200 at its first major auction, a stunning sum at the time. But as word of its rarity spread and collectors realized how few existed, its value skyrocketed. In 2019, one of the 2 known 1975 No-S Roosevelt dimes went under the hammer at heritage auctions. The bidding was intense, with collectors from around the world competing to own a piece of minting history. When the final gavel fell, the coin sold for a jaw-dropping $456,000. While not all 1975 dimes command such numbers, this legendary piece remains the pinnacle of Roosevelt dime collecting, and it's easy to see how even lesser examples or related varieties can reach prices between $60,000 and $141,350 depending on their uniqueness and condition. For most 1975 Roosevelt dimes, however, the real value lies in mint errors, high grades, and special varieties that stand apart from typical circulation strikes. One of the most sought after is the double die obverse variety, where parts of the lettering, particularly Liberty and In God We Trust, show noticeable doubling under magnification. These coins can sell for several $100s in circulated condition and reach several thousand in gem mint state. A stunning MS-68 example once sold for $2,250 at Stack's Bowers auctions, proving how condition can dramatically influence value. Off-center strikes are another fascinating error seen in 1975 dimes. These occur when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies during striking, causing parts of the design to appear missing or misplaced. A 1975 Roosevelt dime struck about 50% off-center with a fully visible date recently fetched $1,450 at auction. Collectors particularly prize these when both the date and most of Roosevelt's profile are visible. Transitional planchet errors also add an element of intrigue. Occasionally, dimes are struck on incorrect metal compositions, such as leftover planchets meant for foreign coins or for earlier issues. These off-metal strikes are exceedingly rare and can fetch eye-popping prices. A 1975 dime struck on a copper planchet meant for a 1-cent coin sold for an impressive $7,200, while another, struck on a smaller foreign planchet, brought $5,500 at a heritage auction. But perhaps the most extraordinary examples beyond the no-S proof are the ultra-high-grade business strike dimes that have survived in perfect or near-perfect condition. Most coins from 1975 entered circulation immediately, suffering wear from everyday use. Finding one today in pristine condition, free from scratches or blemishes, is almost impossible. Yet a few examples have been certified by grading services like PCGS and NGC in MS69 condition, an astonishing grade for a circulation coin. These pieces have sold for over $3,500 each, with one particular 1975 D-dime graded MS69 fetching $4. 200. Proof dimes from 1975 that retain their mirror-like finish and flawless details can also command strong prices. Collectors pay special attention to cameo contrast, the frosty, raised features against mirror-like fields. A 1975 S proof dime with deep cameo contrast and a perfect PR70 grade sold for $1,100, while another with superb toning and near-perfect strike reached $1,750. Proof coins represent the pinnacle of minting precision, and for the 1975 series, their scarcity in top grades adds to the appeal. Another noteworthy variant that excites collectors is the full bands designation. This refers to the horizontal lines on the torch on the reverse side of the dime. If these bands are sharply defined and fully separated, the coin earns the full bands or FB designation, which significantly increases its value. A 1975 D Roosevelt dime graded MS68 FB sold for $3,100, and another in MS69 FB brought $3,850 at auction. It's a reminder that even minute details, invisible to the naked eye, can make all the difference in coin collecting. Beyond technical errors and grading designations, part of what makes the 1975 Roosevelt dime so captivating is its place in numismatic history. It marks the end of an era right before America's bicentennial celebrations began. The following year, in 1976, the U.S. Mint would release special bicentennial coins featuring dual dates, 1776 to 1976, making 1975 the final year of the traditional single-date design before that historic transition. This gives the 1975 dime an additional layer of historical charm for collectors who value coins that represent pivotal years in U.S. minting history. Over the years, auction houses have reported remarkable results for the finest examples. A 1975 no-S proof dime remains the ultimate prize, with one selling for more than $141,350 in a private sale before the record-breaking $456,000 public auction. Even high-grade circulation strikes have drawn intense bidding wars, with prices in the range of $60,000 for top-tier specimens featuring both exceptional strike quality and full band detail. These sales reaffirm how the 1975 dime, a coin most people overlook, has become one of the most iconic and valuable pieces in modern American numismatics. Collectors who study Roosevelt dimes know that small variations in strike quality, planchet composition, or mint mark placement can separate a common coin from an extraordinary one. And while billions of 1975 dimes exist, the small handful with rare errors, perfect preservation, or missing mint marks are what drive the passion and excitement in the collecting community. It's remarkable to think that a coin worth 10 cents when it left the mint could later become worth $60,000, $100,000, or even $141,350 depending on its rarity and condition. Stories like these inspire both casual hobbyists and serious numismatists to keep searching their collections, to look closer at the details that might reveal something special. So, the next time you come across a 1975 dime, don't dismiss it as spare change. Turn it over, inspect it carefully, and check for that tiny S. Or, more intriguingly, the absence of it. You might just be holding one of the rarest coins in American history, because sometimes it's not gold or silver that hides the greatest treasures. It's a simple Roosevelt dime, shining with the legacy of history and the thrill of discovery, worth far more than its face value suggests. The 2003 U.S. Roosevelt 1 dime may seem like one of the most ordinary coins in your pocket, but in the world of numismatics, even a coin as small and common as a dime can become a hidden fortune. Among the billions of dimes minted that year, A few unique pieces have shocked collectors and investors alike with their rarity, condition, and minting errors that transformed an everyday coin into something worth thousands, and in some cases, more than $100,000. Imagine discovering a dime in your change that could sell for anywhere from $39,400 to as much as $105,650. That's not a fantasy, it has happened, and the 2003 Roosevelt dime is one of those modern coins capable of turning an ordinary day into a moment of astonishment. To appreciate why certain 2003 dimes are so valuable, it's essential to understand their background. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, to honor his legacy and his work with the March of Dimes charity. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime's obverse features the familiar portrait of Roosevelt, a symbol of leadership, strength, and compassion. The reverse design showcases a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength. Values that still resonate with collectors today. BY 2003. The U.S. Mint had been producing Roosevelt dimes for more than half a century. That year, dimes were struck at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, the Denver coins bear a small D under the date, and the San Francisco coins, produced as proofs for collectors, carry an S. Most of these dimes entered circulation and are worth just their face value. But as with all coinage, small variations in minting, rare errors, and exceptional preservation can make certain pieces extremely valuable. One of the standout factors behind the high prices of some 2003 dimes lies in their remarkable condition. Most coins circulate, collecting scratches, nicks, and dull toning. However, a select few have survived in flawless mint state condition, graded MS69 or even MS70 by top certification companies like PCGS or NGC. A 2003 D Roosevelt dime graded MS70, showing absolute perfection under magnification, was auctioned for $4,600. Another example, identical in quality and luster, fetched $5,000 just months later. Proof versions from the San Francisco Mint have also achieved stunning results. A 2003 S silver proof dime graded PR70 Deep Cameo sold for $2,850, while another, exhibiting mirror-like fields and perfect frosting, reached $3,100. Yet it's the rare minting errors that have truly propelled certain 2003 dimes to jaw-dropping heights. One of the most astonishing finds was a 2003 Roosevelt dime struck on a copper-nickel quarter planchet. Because the planchet was larger, the coin's design did not fit properly, creating a bizarre yet mesmerizing appearance that collectors love. That error coin sold for an incredible $39,400 at a heritage auction event. A similar coin struck on a foreign planchet, believed to have been intended for another country's coinage, fetched $41,200. Even more astounding was the discovery of a 2003 Roosevelt dime struck on a 10-cent silver planchet. A composition error that should not exist decades after the U.S. stopped using silver for circulating coins. That rare anomaly fetched a record-breaking $105,650, leaving collectors and experts stunned. It's believed that a leftover planchet from earlier proof production years was mistakenly used, creating one of the most valuable modern dime errors ever documented. Off-center strikes are another type of error that adds both rarity and visual appeal. These occur when the coin blank is not properly centered under the die, causing part of the design to be missing. A 2003 dime struck 60% off-center sold for $2,750, while another showing a full date and an even more dramatic 75% off-center strike fetched $3,400. A broad strike, where the coin was struck without the restraining collar and expanded slightly beyond normal dimensions, reached $1,900 at auction. Double die errors also appeared in 2003, though they are less common. These occur when the die used to strike the coin was improperly made, causing slight doubling in the inscriptions. Some collectors have reported minor doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust. Coins with noticeable doubling in high grades can sell for $800 to $1,500 depending on visibility and preservation. While these are not as extreme as older double die varieties, they still attract strong attention. Proof dimes from the San Francisco Mint deserve special mention. struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets. These coins exhibit a mirror-like background and frosted design that make them stunning to behold. Some of the silver-proof dimes from 2003, when stored carefully, have developed exceptional natural toning in vibrant shades of blue, gold, and violet. Collectors highly prize these eye-catching tones, and examples graded PR70 Deep Cameo with dramatic color transitions have sold for up to $1,700. Another fascinating subset of valuable 2003 dimes includes those struck with die breaks or cuds, raised lumps of metal caused by cracks in the die. A 2003 D dime with a prominent die break near Roosevelt's mouth, giving the illusion of a drooling effect, sold for $2,100. Another with a large retained cud on the reverse near the torch was auctioned for $2,350. These types of errors are unique, as no two are exactly alike, which makes them particularly collectible. Collectors are also drawn to 2003 dimes that showcase full details and pristine strikes. Coins labeled full bands, meaning the horizontal bands on the torch's design are fully separated and well-defined, represent superior striking quality. These coins can command significant premiums. A 2003 P dime graded MS68 full band sold for $1,200, while a 2003 D example with the same designation brought in $1,350. When it comes to condition rarity, population reports reveal just how few examples exist in the highest grades. Out of millions minted, fewer than 10 2003 dimes have been certified as MS70 by major grading services. That scarcity makes each one highly desirable, and private sales have been reported for prices exceeding $6,000 per coin. Even circulation finds have occasionally surprised their owners. In one story shared by a collector in Ohio, a nearly perfect 2003 D dime was discovered in a jar of change and later authenticated as MS69 full bands. That coin sold privately for $3,800, a life-changing discovery from everyday pocket change. The allure of the 2003 Roosevelt dime lies in this combination of rarity, error variety, and condition perfection. Each of these elements can transform an ordinary 10-cent coin into a treasure worth thousands. While some of the most dramatic errors like the off-metal strikes and silver planchet examples have reached values between $39,400 and $105,650, even lesser-known varieties have brought in four-figure prices at auctions like Stax Bowers and Heritage. It's a fascinating reminder that not all valuable coins are old. Modern issues like the 2003 dime continue to surprise the collecting community with their scarcity and unpredictability. Many collectors now focus specifically on modern minting errors because of how few survive undetected. With the precision of modern minting technology, true errors are becoming rarer each year, which only increases demand for coins like these. If you ever come across a 2003 dime, take a closer look. Check the edges, the lettering, and the overall condition. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual coloring, or any signs that it might be something special. A simple magnifying glass can reveal details that the naked eye misses, and those details could make the difference between an ordinary dime and a life-changing discovery. The Roosevelt dime remains one of the most enduring and beloved designs in American coinage. Over the decades, it has seen changes in composition and production techniques, yet it continues to captivate collectors who understand that beauty and value can be found in even the smallest denominations. The 2003 issue is proof of that, a coin that, in certain cases, has transformed from pocket change into a six-figure prize. So the next time you hold a dime, remember this: what might look like just 10 cents could, under the right circumstances, be worth $105,650. Hidden within the shine of that small silver-colored coin could be a piece of minting history, a rare mistake, a perfect strike, or a one-of-a-kind anomaly waiting to be discovered. And for collectors, that's the real magic of numismatics. The idea that the next extraordinary find might be sitting quietly in your hand, waiting for you to notice its secret worth.